Mr. President, will you present the honorary degree candidate, Allan King?
Mr. Chancellor, in every art form, there are those who, by virtue of talent and daring, set the standards by which others are measured. Allan King belongs to that select group. A fearless documentary and feature filmmaker, he has for 50 years captivated audiences with his incisive and compassionate art. Allan King's roots are in Vancouver, but his influence has been global. As a teenager, he helped run the Vancouver Film Society, then worked as an assistant editor at CBUT Television. In 1956, he made his first documentary, Skid Row, one of a new school of films now called cinema verite. His pointed examination of the lives of alcoholics in Vancouver's downtown East Side won international acclaim. After this success, he founded Allan King Associates in London, England, and began developing a narrative structure he calls actuality drama. His searching explorations are evident in such gems as Rickshaw, A Matter of Pride, and Running Away Backwards. These finely crafted films touched audiences with their poignant honesty, depicting the human condition in all its pain and humor. In 1966, he moved back to Toronto and soon after made Warrendale, the brilliant and controversial film about emotionally disturbed children. Initially, it was banned from Canadian television, but Allan King's art proved irrepressible. The film won a British Academy Award and the Prix Art et Essai at Cannes. Just 2 years later, he made A Married Couple and once again provided another lasting influence on this art form. In 1977, Allan directed his first theatrical film, Who Has Seen the Wind? His vision of W.O. Mitchell's novel won both critical and public acclaim, and today remains one of the most successful Canadian movies ever produced. Since then, he has directed more than 60 television series episodes and won a Best Director Gemini for an episode of Road to Avonlea. Most recently, his documentary, Memory for Max, Claire, Ida and Company, has deeply moved audiences at festivals in Vancouver, Toronto, and Berlin. In honor of his singularly influential body of work, retrospectives of his films have been held in festivals in Toronto, Rome, London, and Montreal. In 2003, he was installed an Officer of the Order of Canada. Allan King's films belong to the world, but he is one of this country's cultural treasures, and we take great pride in honoring his achievements today. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of this university, I ask that you now confer upon Mr. Allan King the degree Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa.
Allan King, by the virtue of the authority vested in me and in the Senate of this university, I hereby admit you to the degree Doctor of Fine Arts honoris causa. Allan King will be hooded by Dr. Bill Crane, Associate Vice President, Academics.
It is with pleasure that I now call on Dr. Allan King for his convocation address. Dr. King?
Chancellor, President Stevenson, faculty, members, families, and guests. It's truly a great honor and a pleasure to receive a Doctorate of Fine Arts from Simon Fraser University. When I pursued a Bachelor of Arts at the University of British Columbia way back in 1947 to 54, there was no Faculty of Arts then, and I doubt that there was a film school on the continent. I read philosophy, taking every course the department offered. My working life from graduation to the present has been entirely as a filmmaker, and philosophy was the foundation upon which it was built. From that vantage point, I would like to offer a few notions to you, the graduates, whose achievements we are here celebrating today. You may find them useful. Most of you are at a watershed of life. You have proven that you have the ability to accomplish a primary task, the crossover from adolescence to adulthood. That may sound condescending, I hope is not. You see, once upon a time, adolescence was the age from puberty to mating, from about 13 to 19, a time in which one established one's identity and learned the skills with which to earn a living. For many in our complex world, it often now takes many more years until the end of university, with a BA, an MA, PhD, or continuing studies. So congratulations. The value of philosophy, the love of knowledge, is that it nurtures the skill to think conceptually. It asks the question, why? And it teaches a primary and invaluable lesson. There are no definite answers. An admirable professor at the University of British Columbia, Alexander Maslov, taught me what it took me most of my life to understand. He said that the value of philosophy was not in the answers it gave, but in the questions it asked and the different perspectives it offered. It was like putting on a pair of blue or pink or green glasses. What a disappointment. It was to get answers that I had enrolled in philosophy. I wanted answers, and then to spend a lifetime making films which first and foremost asked the question, why? In the course of my work, I learned that Dr. Maslow was right. It was the view, the perspective offered. Knowledge comes from exploration. As an aside, let me suggest that your valuation of what you have learned here and what that experience means to you will shift as you age. For 50 years, I've been privileged to make films, that is to say, to get paid to ask the question why about the major issues of personal life: childhood, latency, adolescence, love, marriage, dementia, and dying. In social life, the films explore deprivation, third world development, making war, making peace, racism, and finally, freedom and authority. It then became clear to me that Dr. Maslow was correct. There are no answers. There are contradictions. For example, thou shalt not kill. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Which, both, when, what? Contradiction. And what almost all philosophy and your own experience will tell you is that three things are central to understanding: feelings, thinking, and judgment. Judgment informed by feelings and thinking. Managing feelings by thinking and reaching wise, that is to say, useful conclusions and judgments, is the heart of the matter. So said Spinoza, probably the greatest of all philosophers. If you are able to do that, you may achieve what we, your predecessors, have failed to do. In the last century, we slaughtered more people than any of our species in all of human history. But the body count per capita by Julius Caesar at about 2 million was quite the equal of the master butchers of our time in our last half century. Hitler at 10, Stalin at 20, and Mao at 50 million. To succeed where we failed, you will have to take authority for your own lives in the world of the corporate state, where greed and money drive everything. Above all, you will need to see all people as human beings, not as good or evil. Stories about good and evil people is both melodrama and bad drama, lousy drama. It's a characteristic of the latency child. It leads invariably to more violence. You have two great challenges then: to live full, rewarding lives, and to change our species. Too often we see ourselves as them and us, infidels and true believers, red, white, black, or yellow, rather than seeing ourselves simply as humans to be understood and respected and even cherished. Be well, and to quote another philosopher, be happy. That's what Aristotle said. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. King.